we move on to discuss the 49ers and whether or not they're suffering from a Super Bowl hangover. And I think it's a little bit more complex than just the term Super Bowl hangover. I think that is a little bit of a not lazy narrative, but a little just lazy term to throw out there for a team that doesn't perform as well as they do the previous season after losing the Super Bowl. But well, look, the 49ers, they have been poor this season. I mean, 5-5 by their standards is god awful through 5 games. They've they've had 3 games now where they've lost 3 of the 5 games that they lost, and they were all against division opponents as well, which compounds it. They've had 90% probability at some point in the second half, and they've managed to lose all 3 of those games. It really is incredible work what this 49ers team has been able to do. I mean, and now they're 5-5, and their next 2 games is Green Bay and Buffalo. It's really make or break for the season, and it reminds me almost similar position that Buffalo Bills had themselves last season. I believe through 12 games they were 6-6. You're 49ers. If you're as a 49ers fan, these next 2 games is so crucial. They are 5-5, but they have a 1-3 division record, and they're tied. The Niners are tied with the Rams and Seahawks, but they're a game behind the Cardinals. And if you compare the Cardinals fixtures to the Niners, the Cardinals have the Seahawks twice, the Vikings, they have the Patriots, Panthers, and then the Rams before that, a Week 18 matchup against the 49ers. While the 49ers in that stretch have the Packers, Bills, Bears, Rams, Miami, Detroit. Obviously, different set of fixtures there. Completely different set of fixtures there. The 49ers have a much difficult record. And by the way, on top of that, the 49ers have the Arizona has a tiebreaker over the 49ers. They have a way better division record, and they have a game advantage. So the 49ers are on the outside looking in, to say the least. And yeah, it's going to be difficult for them now. The 49ers, they've started out 5-5, and they've went on deep runs, but it's about this time that they finally start clicking. This Niners team is still not clicking, and we're more than halfway through the season. Now, maybe the fact that you have some quality opponents in the Packers and Bills coming up will finally force this team to get it right, because now they're literally playing with the season on the line in each game. But who remains to be seen. The Seahawks game, I would sit here and analyze the game, but it's pretty much the same story with the 49ers so far this season. Except, honestly, this game is probably one of their poor performances of the season because of that offense. That offense can generate nothing. 17 points. They really struggled to move the ball. Brock Purdy had 159 passing yards. As a unit, the 49ers only ran the ball for a little bit less than 130 yards, I believe. Or a little bit more than 130 yards. They only had about 290 yards of offense. 294, 95 yards of offense. And 2 touchdowns the whole game. Well, you're going to struggle to win many football games in the National Football League when you generate such little offense and have such little consistency in terms of extending drives. The 49ers had a 10-play drive where they only managed 12 yards or something like that. Or was it 22 yards or something? And they took out 6 minutes of the clock. I mean, that's such a 49ers thing to do. By the way, the 49ers as well, they're very, very. The Kyle Shanahan, he loves making the game as short as possible in terms of when he snaps the ball and the style of play that this Niners team has, well, sometimes they're wasting clock so much that at the end of the game, they find themselves in a position where they're needing some of that clock back. And it's happened over and over again this season. And it's just the same story with these 49ers. You know, I think, I can't even say much about the red zone offense in this game because we weren't even in the red zone much. Defensively, they played really, really well throughout the first couple of quarters. Then, well, when it was time to make that a stop, they couldn't contain Geno Smith. Geno Smith comes up with 2 runs that absolutely gashes the Niners and destroys the game for them. And then one of the runs ended up leading into a touchdown for the Seattle Seahawks that wins the game with 12 seconds left. And yeah, I mean, we know Mitch Mishnowski was out, but by the way, at the start of that possession, the Niners are punting from pretty good field position. They have no Pat O'Donnell, by the way, is the punter that came in. They have no returner back, and somehow Pat O'Donnell is not able to pin them, is not able to give that ball out of the end zone. That is an absolute disaster. Because then they get the ball at the 20, and a few moments later, Geno Smith is running into the end zone. And also, the disheartening thing about it is that the 49ers got the big sack that they needed. I believe it was Yeter Gress-Mott was making his first appearance for the Niners. And he did... I don't know if it was him or Leonard Floyd, it don't matter, but someone got the sack. And the Seahawks find themselves in a position where they were in, I think, 2nd and long or 3rd and long, something of that sort. And, there's no quarterback spy. The defensive line gets out of their lanes, allows a rushing lane to open for Geno Smith. And Geno Smith is out of there to not only make up the yards that they lost on that sack, but to also get a first down. And then he ended up getting that second rushing touchdown, second rush, where a little bit later in that drive, and it led to a touchdown. Again, everybody's in man-to-man coverage. The pass rush doesn't stay in their lanes. Nobody is spying Geno Smith. And he notices he has a free reign to the end zone, and he takes it, and the Seattle Seahawks win, and they win their first game against the 49ers since High School Musical came out for your Disney fans. It's been such a long time since the Seahawks. The Seahawks haven't beat the Niners in the Brock Purdy era. You have to go back to Russell Wilson, I believe, the last time they beat the 49ers. And, yeah, it's just devastating. It's just a devastating loss. The fact that it's a division loss makes it worse. The fact that it's against the Seahawks, literally the worst of worst in terms of rivals. But look, the 49ers, even with the record, even with the schedule they have remaining, the one silver lining is you're only a game behind Arizona, who's first in your division. So you still control everything. And with one crazy run, you suddenly can look like the best team in the NFC again. But there's nothing that been with this 49ers team that gives me that sort of belief that they'll go on one of those runs. Except the notion that they've set a precedent for it. They've done that multiple times now for the last 3 years or so. But eventually, I think there's a price to be paid from the amount of opportunities the 49ers have squandered to win that Super Bowl. Eventually, you're gonna have to pay that price, and I wouldn't say it's coming now, but then more and more it looks like seems like it's happening right now. But thank you guys though for tuning into the GSMC Dead Ball Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram for more content updates. So thank you once again. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.